idea. Well, not even an idea. We now know what the Oregon Ducks schedule is going to be next year.
Yeah, man.
And Dusty, you're thrilled. No Friday night games.
No Friday night games for the Oregon Ducks and 7 home games.
Oh.
Yeah.
And your one road game of consequence that requires real travel.
I think there's going to be three road games of consequence in there. Yeah.
The big one is Penn State.
Yep.
Week 5 at Penn State. But you get that early enough in the season. Look, you want to be humming, but you also don't want it too early. You don't want it too late because Penn State can get brutally cold.
Yeah.
You get it out of the way early.
And that should be a fun one. At Penn State, September 27th. That was leaked leading up to the Big Ten championship game. Kind of, it started rumbling out that would be where the game would be played. Notably, because those two teams were playing in the Big Ten championship game. But I think if you look at it, there's going to be November 8th at Iowa is also a road game where you're going to get a physical team. You're going to get them in November,
and it could be cold as hell.
It probably will be cold.
Iowa gets North Dakota cold. It gets bitterly, disgustingly, grossly cold.
But that one will be an interesting one because Iowa does this roller coaster. You never know kind of which team you're going to get. You know that it's going to be a physical game at that point in the year. One thing that you can look at and you can say without any sort of question is Oregon won't have to go through an 8 straight week gauntlet without a bye week.
No.
And
their schedule's broken up quite nicely for them. This is about as favorable a schedule as you can hope for.
So if you look at it, and James Crepea, the Oregonian, he actually tweeted this out. He went through all the schedules and he said no Big Ten team plays more than 7 straight weeks in 2025. Both Illinois and Purdue play 7. In case anyone thinks that what the league did to Oregon in 2024 was normal, it was not.
No.
8 straight games was absolutely bonkers. And Oregon does have 2 bye weeks built into this upcoming season as they did, or in 2025 as they did this past year. And one of them will be before Indiana comes to Autzen Stadium. So after the Penn State game, they come back, they'll have a bye week. Then Indiana on October 11th will go to Autzen Stadium. And then their next bye week will be, in
November 1st.
First, yeah. After playing Wisconsin at home and before the trip to Iowa. So they have that. I believe Penn State has a bye before they play Oregon. So that's something to keep a note on. But the schedule looks as follows. August 30th, Montana State at home. September 6th, Oklahoma State comes to Autzen Stadium. This is another reason why I think every single agreement should be torn up and college football needs to start from scratch, because Oklahoma State, that game, when it was scheduled, was supposed to be 2 very good teams that would help both of them with getting their non-conference and strength of schedule bolstered. Oklahoma State was at the bottom of the Big 12 this past year. You have infighting within that athletic department over them wanting to have Mike Gundy take a pay cut. Oklahoma State, the bottom fell out this year. They were the worst team in the Big 12 after being picked to win the damn conference. So I hate the way that scheduling is done in college football, but I digress. That's a home game, September 6th. Then September 13th, Big Ten play starts with the trip to Northwestern. And that game, for those that are wondering, is scheduled to be at Martin Stadium. Their stadium won't likely be done. So it may be the lakefront. I would imagine that they may want to corkscrew that thing like they did with Ohio State when they've had big games.
Kick it over to a bigger place.
Where they needed to sell all those tickets because it's a really small venue at Northwestern, right? They played Ohio State at Wrigley Field this year. I don't know if Soldier Field is available or Wrigley or what that may be, but right now it is supposed to be at Martin Stadium. And if that is the opening of the brand new stadium, that'd be pretty sweet. September 20, but I don't think they're even on pace to have that stadium finished by then. But it could be on the lake, which would be badass. September 20th, Oregon State goes to Autzen Stadium this year on the return trip. Then they go to Penn State, Indiana at home, at Rutgers, then Wisconsin at home, bye week to Iowa, Minnesota at home, USC at home on November 22nd, and then wrap up the season on a Saturday at Washington on November 29th. It's a badass schedule. But they don't play Ohio State. They don't play Ohio State this year. They don't play Michigan in 2025. But you do get Penn State, Indiana. We'll see if Indiana has the staying power. Going to Penn State's going to be a tough one, man. That's a tough place to play. I hope that's a night game. I hope it's a whiteout. I hope, everything that you get to experience one of those venues. And then Kinnick Stadium. This is another year where Oregon fans, you've got some really cool places to go, the historic places of the Big Ten. This past year was the Big House and going to Wisconsin at Camp Randall. This year, it's Beaver Stadium at Penn State and now Kinnick Stadium at Iowa. That's pretty cool that Duck fans get to experience those 4 venues in the first 2 years of being in the Big Ten Conference.
It's a nice little smattering of across the board of, here you go.
Hey.
Yeah, you guys get to enjoy the cross-country flight that is the West Coast to New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's a good point. They won't play at Wrigley during baseball season, so that game wouldn't be at Wrigley. So I don't know if they're going to try to put that thing in that temporary Martin Stadium.
Yeah, it'd be. I don't know. It's a weird way to go about it, right?
Yeah, I bet. Let's see. The capacity of that place is 12,023. They're going to want to sell more tickets than that. They're definitely going to want to sell more tickets
for that game. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
I could see that game being at Soldier Field then. See if you can go.
See if the Bears are out of town that week.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that'll probably be something that they work through.
Yeah.
I can see it. There you go. That's your deck schedule. You get your schedule all nice and early now.
Look at that. That's crazy to think about. It always seemed like the Pac-12 was like the last ones to ever unveil anything.
Mm-hmm. And now it's, hey, here you go. Basically a year out. Enjoy. Make your plans accordingly. Which is nice. It's nice. You can get your stuff going now. The Big Ten has something together at least.